Hello everyone. In this video, we want to start talking about the matters and the properties of matters. We're going to start with a new book which is about matter and energy. First in this lesson, which is the properties of matter, in this video we are going to study or we were going to focus on define what does a physical property mean. Also, we want to list common physical properties of matter. To start our lesson, I'll ask you some questions, like driving questions, to help you to start with me this lesson. These questions from your previous information, try to solve them now. I'll ask you this question, then pause the video to answer them alone. Look at these two questions. The first question: what is the difference between mass and weight? What do you know about the mass and weight? What's the difference between them? The second question: how can you determine the density of an object? Do you know how to find the density? Did you hear about this before? Pause the video and try to solve them. Good job. So the answer, if you look at the first one, the difference between mass and weight. Mass is a measure of the amount of matter in an object. Okay? What about the weight? Is a measure of the pull of the gravity on an object. Okay, so how can you determine the density of an object? What is the equation that you're going to use? By dividing its mass by its volume. Okay, dividing its mass by its volume. Okay, since we're talking about the matter, what does a matter mean? Because here I'm talking about the matter, okay? What does a matter mean? What do you think? So the meaning of matter, okay, is anything that has mass and takes up space. Again, anything that has mass and takes up space. For example, the chair is a matter. You as a matter. Laptop is a matter. Pencil is a matter. Okay, it has mass and takes what? Up space. Okay. Now, also, I want you to look at your book, page 21, to solve like these four statements on question 1 to be able to start our lesson together. Let's look on these questions. The question 1, you have to know if it's correct or false, true or false. The first one: liquid water freezes at the same temperature at which ice melts. Do you think this one is correct? Exactly, this one is correct. So here the answer, this one is correct. What about the second one? A bowling ball weighs less than stay from styrofoam ball of the same size. Do you think this one is correct? Actually, this one is false. An object with a density greater than the density of water will float in water. This one will float, the density more. For sure, this one is false. Solubility is the ability of one substance to dissolve in another. This definition is correct. Yes, this one is true. Let's continue talking about the properties of matter. Now we know what does a matter mean. Now we want to talk about what are the properties. Actually, there are physical and chemical properties. In this video, we want to focus on what physical properties. Okay, so here, if you look, what are the physical properties of matter? A physical properties, characteristic of a substance that can be observed without changing the identity of the substance, which is called what? Physical property. For example, if you have a table in front of you, you can observe, for example, the color, right? So you can see what is the color of this table. Also, you can know the size, the size of this table, the shape of this table. So the physical properties, they can be observed. Also, they can be measured. So I can know what is the size of. I can measure the size of this table, for example. Okay. So here for let's. I'll give you another example. If you look at a piece of gold. The physical property of gold, you can look at it, you can know the color of the gold. You can say the gold can be bent and shaped easily and has a lasting shine. You can see these things, right? Both properties make it an excellent metal for making coins and jewelry. So, all of your senses can be used to detect physical properties. If you touch it, if you see it, if you smell it, okay? So color, shape, size, and texture are a few of the physical property you can encounter, okay? So here all the senses can be used to observe physical properties. Also, we want to talk about other things. They are considered as what? Physical properties. The physical properties, we have said that they can be observed. Also, I mentioned they can be measured. So if they can be measured, so the example of the mass property, physical properties, mass and volume. Mass and volume, they are physical properties. You can measure the mass. You can measure the volume of the object. Okay, so this one is physical property. Also here, if you look at this point, changing the mass or volume of substance does not change the substance identity. You have to notice that the physical properties, okay, they can be observed without changing the identity of a substance. It will stay, for example, if you have a piece of gold, this piece of gold, it will stay piece of gold. All the properties of the gold will be the same, even if you, for example, cut it or make it smaller, right? So changing the mass or volume of a substance does not change the substance's identity. Okay. Now, other things like they are like physical properties. The state of matter is physical property. The state of matter is the physical form of the matter. For example, if they are solid, liquid, or gas, the physical property, it's what? The state of matter is a physical property. So most matter exists as solid, liquid, or gas. For example, if you look at the gold, I want to describe the gold, okay? The description of the gold, you're talking about the color of the gold, the state of matter of the gold. It's solid, right? It's shiny. It can be bent. Okay. The mass, the volume of the gold. All of these things are they are what? Physical property. If you change any of these, and if you melt the gold, the identity of the gold will be changed? No, it will stay the same. So this one is what? Is physical property. Got it? Also, the other thing they are considered as physical properties of matter. Electrical conductivity is a measure. What is electrical conductivity? Is a measure of how well electric current move through a substance. For example, for copper, it has the ability to conduct electricity. So conductivity is a physical property, and this conductivity, it measure how well electric current can pass through the copper wire. Also, the density. The density, what is the density? Is the measure of amount of matter in a given volume. So to find the density, the equation to find the formula to find the density, which is what? If you know that. To find the density, you need the mass over volume. So the density also, if you're talking about the density of gold, the density of copper, the density of the table, the density of, for example, let's say the pen, okay? all of these, if you're measuring the density, this thing is measured. So measuring, it's related to physical property. Density is a physical property. Also, other thing they are considered as physical properties, thermal conductivity. What is thermal conductivity? Is the rate at which a substance transfer heat. For example, iron, it can transfer heat. But if plastic cannot conduct thermal energy, right? It doesn't contain thermal conductivity. The heat will not be transferred. You know this? Okay. The other thing they are considered are physical properties, solubility. Solubility, what is it? What does solubility mean? If you have, for example, to understand this, if you have a sample of sugar and you put it inside the water, the sugar particles will spread through the water molecules, so you can't see them then, right? So the solubility is the ability of substance to dissolve in another substance. Dissolving property here, okay, or this dissolving process will not change the identity of the sugar. The other thing, malleability. Malleability is the ability of substance to be rolled or pounded into various shapes. For example, if you have an aluminum piece, this aluminum piece, you can change its shape into different shapes. You can make trays of aluminum, right? Okay. The other thing, magnetic attraction, which means here this property can be observed. For example, iron, if you have a magnet, iron, it will be attracted to what? To the magnet. But if you have, for example, aluminum, aluminum will not be attracted to what? To the magnet. So here I can observe if these pieces are attractive to magnet or not. Okay, the malleability, I can use my sense to see if the aluminum can make shapes. The solubility also, you can observe it, right? The thermal conductivity, you can also observe it. Density, you can measure it. Okay. Electrical conductivity, here also you can see the light when it, for example, it turn on. Okay. So here, as you see, for the physical properties, they can be observed by the sense and they can be measured. Let's continue talking about other physical properties of matter. The shine, luster of matter can be easily observed. So if it's shiny or luster, all of these are physical properties. To know the melting point of a substance or a boiling point of a substance, okay, it's also what? It's a physical property. So the melting point of a substance, what is it? Is the temperature at which it changed from a solid to a liquid. Here, melting point also is what? Is a physical property. The boiling point of a substance is the point at which the substance boils. Okay? So these things, we have mentioned a lot of physical properties. You can observe, you can use your sense, you can measure. Okay, all of these are what? Are physical properties. Now I want to show you a video to know more about the physical properties and understand more about the physical properties.
Let's take a look at physical and chemical properties. A physical property can be observed and measured physically, for example, by touching, bending, heating, or cooling it. But chemical properties are different because you must change the substance chemically to observe the property. For example, to observe the flammability of a substance, you must burn it, and that changes its chemistry. Density is a physical property. Conductivity is a physical property. Solubility is a physical property. Magnetic properties are a physical property. Melting point is a physical property. Boiling point is a physical property. Malleability is a physical property. State of matter is a physical property.
Okay, so now if you still have any question about this lesson, you can send me your question. We have discussed only the physical property. Don't worry about the chemical. We will talk about it later. To make sure that you understand the lesson, I want you to solve the questions. You have like different figures on page 24 and page 25. Please solve them, and thank you for listening.